All right, so let's do a rapid fire. What's happening after the Charlie Kirk assassination? A lot of things are relevant and something that you should be aware of with regards to trends, as well as the reaction across the world, because there's a lot of simultaneous news that's also going on. But you've got to be aware as believers what is happening in this day and age, because we are moving into some critical times and you have to really be informed so that your prayers are better, but also that you don't get caught up in the thick of things, especially with misinformation or just the spirit of the Antichrist moving in a certain direction. So let's talk about a couple of these things. Now, the media is going to say a lot of things about Tyler Robinson. I saw the press conference of who the actual assassin that they caught was. There's a lot of things going around in terms of whether it's exactly as they say it is or other conspiracy theories. People are talking a lot about the rifle as well as just who he is, the manifesto type thing. And people are, of course, reporting on his political leaning. He was the only leftist, apparently, and everybody else was Republican. There are a lot of misinformation and AI type stuff. One of these being fake photos that combine Trump and Tyler Robinson and being a supporter, but he is not, in fact. And then more recently, his association with a transgender partner, apparently. So this person is basically, you could say a lot of different things about it, but they're apparently in coordination and cooperation with the FBI, talking about all of these, incriminating text messages and just a lot of different things. So basically, it's just a lot of whether it's a romantic thing and being in a relationship as well as other stuff. There's a lot of association with that, and I won't go too deep into it. It's a little bit divisive, but of course it is being talked about. Now, of course, since the day he passed away, there's been a lot of vigils, but what's very evident is the stark difference that people are calling out. The Charlie Kirk vigils and the response by the public versus George Floyd and other, if it was another racially motivated or a leftist leaning thing, the reaction from the public in the past has been a lot of uproar, but in this case, it was not. And one of the higher level things to note as a difference, which I'll talk about here in a second, is that the response is not what the higher level guys wanted, right? The global world order, whoever you want to call it, they wanted to incite violence. They want to start another world war, but that was not obviously the response. And what you're seeing instead is peaceful demonstrations across the world. And in fact, here and this is different cities, I'm just going to highlight Seoul here in Korea. There's been various marches in support of him and just really coming together. The same is happening in London and in various other cities. Now, one of the biggest responses have been from the left, and of course, those that are celebrating, people are calling out. And one of the biggest battles going on in the digital space is that there are accounts that are like this person finding and categorizing and just calling up even their employers to have them fired. This particular guy is going viral. Many others are going viral, but they are finding and calling out this behavior. And in some sense, rightly so, because you don't want just these people to go unhinged doing all these different things and just getting away with it. But rather, you want to rebuke and you want to, in a peaceful, loving manner, make sure that these things don't go left unchecked. And so I've heard thousands, maybe hundreds, I don't know how many, but there are lots of people getting calls with employers and getting people fired. One of the viral ones that happened was at Home Depot, where one of these employees, or two of them, they went viral because they refused to print a Charlie Kirk prayer vigil flyer. And they thought this was, from their words, propaganda. They say, we don't print propaganda, we don't print that here. And then, of course, this went viral. So much so that Home Depot even responded, and they said that they were deeply concerned by the incident. They had let these people go, or this person go, and they were apologetic and also printed this for this particular customer. So a lot of companies are responding by letting these guys go, and many of these patriots or these people that are calling people out are championing this effort because, again, a lot of these posters may have small followers or they have a lot of followers, but what doesn't go away is what you post on the internet. Now, if you haven't seen it, Erica Kirk also made her first public remarks. It was a very touching speech. Would definitely recommend those that haven't seen it to go watch it. But there's been a big movement. I think Turning Point has had 1,000 plus new chapters. No, excuse me, I just double checked, 18,000 new chapter requests. And so there's been a huge outcry, a lot of support, obviously for the family, but also to take up the mantle that Charlie Kirk left and try to go and champion this across the U.S., but also across the world. Now, on that same day or within a day of the assassination happening, there were a lot of references to the Q post. So Dan Scavino even talked about how this was a turning point. And Ripcord here mentions that Q post 3776, there was a timestamp that equated to the shot heard around the world, the Great Awakening, a week to remember. Now, I'm not going to say that this was planned and this is what they wanted, but possibly when this type of thing happens to a big public figure, Dan Scavino has an opportunity to say, hey, let me cue you back in to what's happening, because people are seeing what's going on. And literally, this is a unprovoked attack, and it was a shot. And he alluded to this by saying that you got to remember, this is a great awakening, a week to remember. So I don't want to get too conspiracy-ish into it, but of course, Dan, in many of his posts, is communicating to us based on the Q post and clue drops. And of course, Trump also, on the day of, he had posted about remembering Charlie Kirk, but also he did something that was unusual. He capitalized sympathies. And of course, we know that when he capitalized things, it's something that you don't just ignore. So people were connecting this to post 3701, where he says sleepers everywhere. So sleeper cells, sleeper agents everywhere. This swamp runs deep. And then another post, 4476, where he uses S in brackets. This is how you connect the S, the capital S, to certain drops here. But one of the things it says down here was D Party, BLM race push reparations, COVID-19, huge rise in unemployment, insurrection, riots, city takeovers, remove police, weaken property, destroy, assault, murder, release by D governors, mayors back to streets, safe zones, division, hostility, race war, end goal then versus now, government control. So again, Trump warning us that this is what their end goal was. That this is what they wanted to do. They wanted to have destruction from within the swamp, the deep state, whoever you want to call it. They're trying to incite violence, domestic violence within the country, within the world, so that we can turn on each other. And so if this was some inside job, if it was some, bigger, conspiracy at play, whatever it is, what they want to do, and it just makes sense from a demonic, satanic perspective, is that they want to target somebody to quiet their voice so that it could disrupt the peace, the tranquility of what's going on, so that people can kill each other and do whatever it is that the evil people want. But of course, we as Christians, as believers, or even Republicans, people, conservatives on the right, whatever you want to call it, we know that response is not what should be the right response. That's what they want, but that's not what they're going to get, because people are more mature. And of course, there's immature people in between here on the right or whatever it is, but their end goal is not working out, but rather what they're seeing instead is a new rejuvenation, a new rise up, a new fire stirring in people to do good. And you've seen the numbers. A lot of people talking about how there's a lot of, I think 2 million recently, Democrats had moved over to being Republican, and there's this crisis among the youth, and they're finding out and recognizing what is this spirit, this antichrist, demonic type spirit that's going on to incite these things. But rather, people are seeing and looking at it beyond what is being shown to us, and they're seeing it and they're wanting to fight against that to do good. And so it's a good time for people. You've got to let it settle out. You have to let the dust settle. You have to let people go through their journey of awakening and maturing and really figuring this out on their own. And so again, in some sense, it's a necessary time. It's a very tough time. But just know a lot of things are happening. And whether you want to champion an effort as part of this awakening to inform or to take some kind of action, whatever it is, I pray that those that are watching right now, you guys respond appropriately as we move forward into this next season. I've said in a video yesterday that it's going to be tough. It's going to be a little bit divided, but because of that division, God is using it so that it would awaken people. It would strike people to say, you know what, who is God? Who is Christ? What is good? What is evil? And eventually at this rate, God will prevail. And he's the only thing that will stand. And his will, his desire, the sovereignty of God is here. And we are not playing around, guys. And as the end times and just this whole spiritual nature, a spiritual war that's going on, that's happening, you've got to get right with him. You've got to understand who he is. But also you have to understand perception of reality. You have to understand correctly how to be able to look at certain things, even though we don't have all the information, even though it's hard to discern. So right now, there's a lot going on with regards to information. Be very careful as AI and just a lot of social media is, projecting certain things, as well as the psyops, the conspiracies. A lot of things are coming out right now, and so we'll just let the dust settle in that sense. But also, forgot to mention, there's a lot of distractions going on, and by that I mean we know that if something like this is happening, meaning that it was, let's say it was an op, it was natural or unnatural in the sense of whoever this person might have been, is it a distraction from something else? Because you're having a lot of global events right now. You're seeing Nepal, their government, and just everything happening there, the collapse. You're seeing France, they're not even moving forward because they can't select a prime minister. And you have all these different countries going through a lot of stuff, as well as, World War III, NATO stuff. You have the Poland, Russia, Ukraine, all of that, the crazy stuff. We still have the Middle East. So who knows what else globally, internationally, is being concealed, maybe in a sense, or distracted from, or there's something else domestically in the U.S. that's being covered up, or at least the attention is being diverted through this kind of event. So again, there might be that play, but who knows? Right now, something real has happened, which is that Charlie Kirk passed away, and it's allowing revival. It's allowing people to wake up and to realize just the truth and news and how to deal with it. And so again, stay prayed up, guys. A lot's happening. Guys, you guys know I'm doing a September series on posting consistently. Thank you guys for the support. I'm also trying to give attention to my fundraiser. You guys see it in the description below, the Give, Send, Go. I would love your guys' support. Otherwise, it's going to be very tough for me as I move forward. I need support financially and through prayer temporarily as we get through this rough season. Would love to meet my goal if you guys can help me out below. I also have PayPal, Zelle, Venmo if you guys want to check that out as well. Love you guys. More to come. Talk to you guys very soon.